Good morning, Paige.
Good morning.
How are you this Wednesday?
Given everything that's going on, I'm wonderful.
Mm.
I really can't complain. Even just being in the middle of ugh,
Well, I
what's
don't,
been and what's going to be
yeah,
is
yeah,
a very uncomfortable place to be.
it
But
is.
it's just a matter of surrendering and allowing
Mm,
just to be, you know.
mm.
Uh,
Oh, Goddess,
yeah.
we are at 11:11.
Woo!
Thank you.
Yes.
All of a sudden I looked down and I was like, oh,
Gotta love the numbers. It's in the
yes,
numbers.
it is in the numbers. Yeah, well, I have not been so great over the last week. I've been becoming more transparent with my support, my community, and I feel like that is a perfect awareness to be having in relation to our invoking the divine goddess inspiration for this week, Hecate.
Mm-hmm. Hecate.
Hecate.
Those of you out there who pronounce it differently or know better than we do,
We would love your
please,
input.
please correct us. We have come up with all kinds of versions. We just decided to Hecate would be today. Uh,
but
we honor
yeah,
the name. We'll
yeah,
honor the energy and not just the name. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely.
carry on.
But so this is the in between. We are certainly in the in between, and I believe that Paige, before we hopped on here, you were talking about going outside and looking at the moon and seeing it that it was perfectly at our waning crescent is what we.
I think that's what you said. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
So that perfect like illumination of half of the sun, the moon, and the darkness of the other half of the moon. Yeah, waning crescent moon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this state that I have been resonating in for the last week or so has been definitely that the discomfort of this in between. But I really loved what you were sharing with me about the initiation period. So I would really like for you to share a little bit more with our community your thoughts on that, and how we can embrace and invoke this in between.
Yeah, I've been exploring this idea for a couple of weeks now. I've been listening to Jumana Sophia talking about it and how we're operating out of our deep feminine. And in this moment, we are in an initiation phase. We're not just in this let's just take a pause and a rest and think about things, and I'll emerge out of this a little bit better and I'll be able to do this and do that. But no, it's like it's an initiation. It is being in the fire, in the surrender, the letting go of any preconceived notions of what it's going to be like on the other end. We just have to be here right now in it and experience it and not fight it or anything, but just rely on our deep feminine to for this process too. It's almost like a forging process, a shaping project process, and that doesn't feel so good. I mean, I don't know anybody
Oh.
that's jumped into fire and felt, oh, this feels great. I mean, I want more of this.
Oh, and this is why I love Paige. She brings these images into my brain that I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's just, we're like melting.
Yeah.
But in that, I have to trust that there is better version of myself that I'm expecting, but I can't expect what it's going to look like and how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And
and I think
myself,
even,
I have to I have to release that attachment to that.
yeah, and I was gonna say, even to the point of releasing expectations of anything, just,
Exactly.
and I think that is the root of so much of the dis-ease that I have been living in for this last week, is just this, the not knowing, and the attachments to wanting to know, old behavioral patterns to wanting to know, and instead, my opportunity here, and I was
Mm-hmm.
so grateful that this, the goddess Hecate is who we landed on this week, and it's always intuitive. It's all, we don't actually go to the deck and go, okay, we're gonna go, 1, 2, 3. We sit here together, and we tap into goddess and God energy, that sun moon, that yin yang, that balance, and just ask, how can we be the channel for the message to come through. And we really work those cards together, and then we're gifted with the goddess that is going to help us share that message.
Right. Right.
And every time we have pulled these cards that week, I am working that energy in some way. And I think last week, like the passion and the love and the really wanting to get into enjoying life. It felt, I enjoyed life in a different way, even in my dis-ease, even in my feelings of sadness, even in my sense of discomfort. I went, we went to the lake and just enjoyed nature and found joy in that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And everybody's in between is different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're all experiencing the same thing, but maybe at different times. And you had said, like, you feel like you're 2 weeks behind everybody else because when all this started happening, you were in the go, go, go mode, as many solopreneurs are, and just in our being in this world. Okay, I've got to figure out how I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have physical space to be with people. And you were having to learn a lot. You were going through a lot. Whereas, like, for me, I'm used to being at home and doing things kind of virtually and all that. So it wasn't quite the same, but it speaks to that. I don't know if you're in between is feeling this way or not, but it's like you want to be part of one or the other of those worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't.
Right.
You have to release both sides of what was and what's going to be, and now be here. And I think it was really interesting, as we were talking about being in joy and in your heart and all of that we were talking about last week. We had our Divine Heart women's group that met, and we were able to share, and that you haven't had that circle of support,
Right.
to share. Well, none of us had really till we finally got together and started sharing, and then it was like our hearts were joined again.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, then when you were going, this is just my observation, then when you fell into that dark space, you had us to reach out to. Whereas maybe a couple of weeks ago, you were still on the go, 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 and you would have been like, who do I turn to, really? Or
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of brings about that idea that we need to share those dark moments and all that, because Some of us have been through it or going through it, or some of us are headed toward that.
Mm-hmm.
We need
Well,
some
and I think
support.
as facilitators, as guides, the journey that I have chosen as my life, or my spirit has told me is my purpose. You know, like the ego part is, well, I have to be there. I have to hold that space. I have to be in that. And then the truth, again, this concept of the in between, that's actually not the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I'm not doing it. I'm not actually holding that space. Spirit's holding it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of the channels that holds that space with spirit. And so I think that there's definitely some resolution and releasing and letting go of belief structures of I've got it together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm holding it for the collective into we are the collective.
Oh my gosh, what you just said. I was thinking about the concept of illness and wellness.
Mhm.
And, everybody says you take the I out of illness and substitute we. What do you have? Wellness.
Wellness.
So it's like you're taking the ego, the I out of this
Mm-hmm.
and substituting the
Right.
we, spirit, channels,
Yep.
other people, all that. And you move toward wellness.
Right.
So,
And so this in between stage of the doing and the pushing and the forcing forward versus the truly honoring and allowing my ego's vulnerabilities to be seen.
yeah.
It is leading, and that's where I landed last night. Is I had 2 days this week where I literally was in bed pretty much all day. Yesterday was because I had a massive headache and was feeling extremely nauseous, and just my body just was like, no, you're not doing anything today. And so I spent the whole day in rest. And at the end of the day, one of my goddess sisters reached out and asked a question, and we got into a chat conversation through text. And I came to the other side of that conversation feeling lighter, like the cloud had lifted. And so at that point is when I went into my different support systems, which I realize I have many.
Yes, you do.
I have many if I allow myself to be supported. And so I took the share and placed it in all of those avenues because I wanted my whole tribe to hear from me that I am struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I am. And that I honor that. And I honor that it's because I'm in this place of the in-between. And having done that, in my heart, I feel and sense and believe that that has opened up lightness back into my life today. When I got up this morning and I went to the store and I got what Spirit said, this is what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have juices for days coming out of my refrigerator.
You have the whole rainbow.
I have the whole rainbow. And I trust that this is the moment that I can release some things that I've been doing to my body out of behavior, out of just trying to feel a sense of security and safety. Because it was making me feel more dense. It was making me feel more safe to feel that density. But in the morning, it was making me feel like crap.
Yeah, I get it.
So now I'm going to have to rise up into my heart center and let the lightness come back and let there be balance between those and find the intuitive find the intuitive nourishment that I know will help me feel safe.
Right.
Not the ego, I just need to numb, or I just need to shut it down, or I just need to quiet everything because it's too much. Because as you just said, this initiation that we are in it's a movement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A movement through our entire being.
Exactly.
And I keep hearing the call for this and this and this, and I just wasn't in a headspace where I felt ready to activate. And it was because I needed to rest. And that was the depression. It wasn't that I wasn't going to be okay. It was that I needed to rest, and Spirit said rest. And so I said, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The invitation to rest, the invitation to be uncomfortable, the invitation to cry, the invitation to be angry, the invitation to feel frustration, the invitation to feel sadness gave me the opportunity to rise into a place of vulnerability and asking for help and support from my tribe.
Exactly. I was thinking also, my being in the in-between has been, I keep thinking about, okay, I can accept that this is my initiation. This is like the collective's initiation. Mm-hmm. And what I'm seeing, how I'm seeing other people reacting and not responding. And how, I mean, we see the Mother Earth is like rejoicing right now. It's like Mother Earth is getting a rest. We're giving her a rest. And the water is clearing up, the air is clearing up. I mean, granted, we had tornadoes and we've had, volcanoes erupting and stuff like that.
But those are also part of Mother Earth helping to
exactly
reset.
Yeah. However, and worry is like praying for something you don't want to happen, but I get worried, and I feel that feeling for others. How are they going to emerge on the other side? If people are looking for, I can't wait to get back to normal. Like, there was no normal. What we were living was not normal. We're going to have to forge a new normal. And then, but what about the people that aren't getting that message? And that's what kind of sits with me. And I have to release that and say, no, that is their journey. That is, I can only affect, it's the ripple effect. If I can, like you said, you need the rest and all that because you feel this responsibility to the others in your tribe as a leader to have it all together, basically, and be there. But you can't serve from an empty cup. We talk about that all the time. And you got to fill it up and share, and just let other people hold the space for you while you go through what you're going through.
Yep.
And that's really how I see it. And I'm grateful that we have this time together. We can share these insights, and they're not, by no means, there's nothing new under the sun, but sometimes just verbalizing it will give other people an aha moment. Oh yes, I've been feeling that way. Of course. I mean, you've worked with some people in distance Reiki that have, you've just said what I've been feeling, and it just needed to be said by somebody else.
Yep. Well, and that's the collective. That's us harnessing a connection of remembering together, of tapping into that beautiful tapestry of the collective together, because we, especially when we go down the path of I have to have this journey by myself. I have somebody that I'm working with right now that's one of the things that they're navigating, is realizing that doing it alone is actually harder than leaning into the discomfort of letting someone else hold you up, or reach out a hand and lift you up, or throw a rope whenever you're so far down into into the hole that you just can't even see the light. Like, I think that's the magic of what I'm observing in this in between, is the magnitude of support and love that I'm experiencing.
Yeah,
And
I'm just visioning you
yeah,
like in the bottom of this well thinking, okay, where's the stuff I need to make this rope so I can get myself out of here? When
right.
somebody else is at the top of the well, like, I have a rope.
Right, right.
I can do that.
Yeah. It really does feel like this time is an opportunity for us to remember that we're not here alone. And right now it feels like we are, because we're separate from one another physically, but
Yeah.
energetically we are not. We are not.
I think we're realizing just how connected we really are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that when we were talking in our circle on Saturday about unity and understanding that, what was it, the student said that you are the other,
Mhm.
and that we're all
Yep.
facets of that same magical crystal that
Mhm. Yeah. Exactly.
and I mean, and I take heart in that. And one more thing I wanted to refer to, circling back, that you had mentioned when you reached out to everybody, was that you were recognizing that grief cycle
Mhm.
that you were going through. And I think a lot of people are experiencing that too, that in some way, shape, or form. And why don't you just explain to those who weren't privy to your your post
Yeah. So,
what you were experiencing in that
yeah,
cycle?
yeah. So I really feel like I went from, that space of trying to just figure it out. Like, we went from, okay, this is a transition we're making, and so then it became this doing, having to really step into what is it that I need to do to make everything okay, right? So if we go through the cycle of grief, it's denial, which is the doing. How do I fix this? Then there's anger, which I have experienced different layers of, and specifically last week, my husband gifted me a mirror and was like, we cannot do this in our house. And it wasn't that I was, running around throwing things. It was just, I was frustrated, and
Yeah.
I had a moment of being snippy. And so, it was, we just need to not, we need to be gentle with one another. And he's right. And normally I am the one that's more like, okay, let's just slow it down. But I was having my moment of anger. Then the bargaining, like, oh my gosh, what do I need to do? How can I be okay on the other side of this? What do I need to do to be okay on the other side of this? Then the depression. And that's where I lived for about 5 straight days until last night. And that was rough. And through that depression, there were moments of anger and conversations with different friends, and I think honestly it came down to when I woke up yesterday and my head was pounding and my stomach was nauseous, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm toxic right now. I feel toxic right now because I'm so overwhelmed by all of it. So that's when Spirit got real clear about, you need to go to the store and you need to drink your food for a couple days and get some clarity. And that clarity doesn't mean that I have to do anything. It just means that I need to sit in the dis-ease so that I can have clarity. And that doesn't, so that probably means in the next few days, there's going to be some more of those emotions coming up. Then I get the gift of working it, honoring it. So
Exactly.
my intention is not to, be aggressive with this process that I'm going through. I'm still going to drink smoothies, so I'm getting a little bit of, kind of that more dense taste, but I'm not going to juice for 3 days straight because that's not something that speaks to my heart right now. But if I can
Mm-hmm.
minimize the amount of density that's coming in so that I can clear out my body and clear out the system, then I think that's a good thing. And that will then transfer into clearing out the energetic system, clearing out the mental system, clearing out the emotional system, and ultimately reawakening my connection to my spiritual
Right.
messages that are still coming in. I still hear them. I just don't want to do anything with them because I'm tired.
Yeah.
So
We are expending a lot of energy that we're not aware of. We're moving a lot of energy.
Yep.
And as being an energy worker and working in all those modalities, if you don't move that energy through, it's going to get stuck somewhere, and you're going to have that disease. So what you need to do to raise your vibration and let food be thy medicine.
Exactly. And I think
Start there.
I think that what we are sharing and how we share and how we offer these chats is authentic. This is my journey. This is where I am. I know that with the foundation of my company, Authentic Life Journey, that this is part of the authentic life journey. And I'm not going to hide that from anyone that I am gifted the opportunity to share with, because at the end of the day, this is part of the deal.
Right. I mean, if anybody comes to me, or if they appeared like to have it all together, I don't know that I could relate to that. I mean, it's just, nobody has it all together as much as they like to. I mean, some days you feel like, yeah, I got this. Yeah. But, I mean, it's part of the feminine and the motion, moving with the moon cycles. We're constantly in a cycle of something, right? And you just could stay in the flow, stay in the flow.
Absolutely.
Sun, I can't see the sunrise every morning, and I can't be on the beach. This morning it was raining and cloudy, but I knew the sun was rising.
Yeah,
with or without me. It's a cycle every day.
Yeah. And I think that we are actually experiencing some rain coming here too, and it almost feels like it's part of this cleansing, I'm like really ready for that rain to come. Just cleanse away our land here in our backyard, and just just open up to that. So I just realized next Wednesday we are on a new moon. So when we have our goddess chat next week, we look forward to maybe talking with you all a little bit about that and about how we can utilize these moon cycles, because like you said, we are in constant cycles. So I think that it would be really lovely for us to maybe tap into that a little bit next week.
I love that. I love the new moon.
So with that being said, friends, we are going to sign off. We thank you so much for tuning in, and hope you have enjoyed this goddess chat, and that it will help inspire you to honor your journey, honor your in-between, and to work with invoking whatever messages that Hecate can offer us. Hecate, sorry.
Hecate, whatever.
We love you. We honor you. We see you.
I love you.
Paige, thank you so much for this time. I enjoy our chats every Wednesday.
Oh, I do too. And,
have a beautiful
thank
day.
you so much. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.